Well, I'd like to start by giving thanks. We got, recruiting. This year's recruiting has come to an end. It started over a year ago. And Dr. Montgomery and Carey, like to thank them. Anytime you have a president that's willing to come at breakfast during recruiting weekends and stuff, it sends a message about what we're about. Shawty, Tim, and Craig over at the Radisson crew and everything they do for our official visits is huge. Latitude 42 helps us out. Loft 310, our coaching staff, Kristen, um, Kyle, our director of recruiting. I mean, this is a 365, 24 hours a day thing. And they put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of time away from families. So I'd like to thank those people because they are vital into continuing to, add talent to our roster. Um, the three guys we added, it's interesting with two signing days. It's the first one becomes the signing day, and the second one becomes the late signing day. And so it was fun as I get to travel. Head coaches only get to travel in December and January, so it's really the only time I get to go see coaches. And one of the main questions I always ask is who's out there, who we missing, is there a diamond in the rough, what who developed. Nowadays with recruiting, it's really hard. You got to have a great junior year, or it's hard to be recruited. So we don't get to watch as much senior film as we used to because we're done by that time. So all I kept hearing about was this Marshawn Nealon guy. Every school I went into, they said, "Have you been to Godwin yet? Have you been to Godwin yet?" And I thought Godwin was a basketball school, And I remember the DN from there, and I remember him being 195 pounds. So we drove over there and had a chance to see him, and he's 245 pounds now, and he's first team All-State and Dream Team, and it was a great backyard, tall athletics. He's the center on that great basketball team, the undefeated team, and so we're lucky, to find one in our backyard. Anytime you can add talent, especially to the D line, it's huge, and so we're excited. And then we had two local guys that we've known about the whole time, that we've liked, we've recruited. As preferred walk-ons, and Eric Wenzel and Joe Misak, and they both we've kept our eye on them, trying to get, just a lot of those guys have to figure out what they want out of their future, and both those guys have the talent. We didn't have the space for them, but guys that are going to come here and compete and hopefully help us win and have a chance to earn a scholarship.
Um, was there a little bit of an emphasis on the defensive line, given that you had two guys?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I don't think it's numbers wise we're okay. We redshirted 4 last year that I'm pretty high on. So I'm excited for what they're going to bring to the table. But yeah, D line is kind of like anyone that can rush the passer. It changes games. It's like it comes down to look who's getting paid in the NFL. It's the guys that can throw it, the guys that can protect the thrower, and the guys that can get after the thrower. And corners would probably be after that. Everyone else they're not a dime a dozen, but they don't get paid at the same level. So yeah, defining a guy. We liked him when he was 195 pounds. He was an athletic kid. It was just, can he get big enough? Can he get big enough? And on his official visit, I think he gained like 4 pounds just that weekend. He had like 7 plates of breakfast. 7. It was unbelievable. They brought the president a plate of pancakes, a second one by mistake. The order went in and he had one and they brought another, and President Montgomery was like, "No, I'm good. I just ate this one." And Marshawn rose his hand like, "I'll take him." And he kept going. It was unbelievable. So he's going to be a big kid, and he moves well. And but yeah, D lineman. There's some of those positions that you'll always take. It has been fun this month being pretty much full, just chasing, guys we'd heard of, trying to build relationships and see if we can grab 1 or 2 more, But we're at a place depth-wise that it wasn't a necessity. It was just that's the fun part about the way recruiting's going. It's totally different than it's ever been. You have your first signing day and the second one, depending on if you have space. If you do a good job on the first one, though, space is just, I don't want to say bonus. I just want to say game changers. If you can find a guy that can really make a difference, you go take him. And if not, you're good, because there's still all a spring, and then there's the senior transfers. There's a lot of there's still more recruiting coming. That as the portal goes out, it's more and more. Chances are higher and higher that you can find guys in that realm. So this one was lucky, and we asked the right questions and got over there at the right time, and fell on a good one.
Yeah, and that transfer portal, brand new for this offseason.
Brand new.
How has that kind of impacted this recruiting cycle, post December?
I think you don't worry about it as much. I mean, you kind of see what happened with the fifth year transfer thing, where that started slow and then it went, full speed. And all of a sudden you could count on finding one or two. And then as it really got going, you felt pretty comfortable wanting to keep one or two in your pocket because they were those guys were gonna become available, And now with the transfer portal, this is gonna be the first spring going through it. You just know that there's going to be a higher percentage chance that you don't want to go into the fall without having enough players, but you also want to make sure you have a little bit of flexibility when you get into these springs and summers now, because springs and summers you have a chance to fall into somebody, So I think it just takes the edge off this second signing day. Like, we have to go get one more, and you really don't. You're in a good spot already. And if you only go after, 2-3 guys and saying, hey, we really want to get him. If we get him, no. If we lost one to NC State, we lost one to Kansas State, which happens, but it was fun to go after him, So yeah, it just takes the edge off this has to go this way. Like this, I was thinking last night going to bed, like, wow, this used to be a stressful night. It was a mess of a day. Night, and just thinking about what's the next day. So it's just a different time the way recruiting's going.
With Marshawn and kind of his the bulk that he's put on over the past year, what kind of positional flexibility do you think he brings?
I mean, he's definitely a D end. I mean, you watch his movement skills and you watch his senior highlight tape. His junior highlight tape's good too, but his senior highlight tape he's doing it at 238, I think he was the senior year. And he's long, really, really long arms. He's, when he does this, he's bigger than Coach Espo. That's the wingspan test. He beat Coach Espo, which is rare, And so, yeah, if he keeps growing, he could grow right into an enormous interior guy as well, But definitely he'll start at DN, and we're going to just grow him the right way because he still looks skinny. He hasn't even come close to filling out yet, and he's in the middle of a basketball season. So he'll finish this season up, and then we'll get him here in the summer and start building him and see what he grows into. Anytime you can get a long athlete, a big, tall, long athlete, they'll end up somewhere. Depends on what their body wants to turn into.
Quarterback like Aaron Wenzel obviously had no problem picking apart high school defenses. As a quarterback, what do you think that league was going to be like for him in order to come in here and compete at that position?
Yeah, the one thing that's going to help him is his athleticism. That's a crutch that some quarterbacks have. I didn't have that crutch. Like, I had to be right, or I wasn't going to get myself out of trouble. Caleb's like me that way. But the guys that have a little bit of a wiggle to them, as they're going through their learning curves, they can use their feet to buy themselves to have success early. But the success he's had. I mean, I love his mechanics. I want to look at his release a little bit. It looks good. I got to see it up close got to film him and sit in the lab with him a little bit. His lower half is about as good as I've seen. And he came to our summer camp and we talked to him, and he's doing it. Like, his lower half is exactly what I want. And watching him have the success, he's got a quick release. He's got a huge upside because I think he can play multiple positions too. But you're going to start him at the number one position, which is QB. And then we'll figure him out from there. But there's nothing that when I watch him play that makes me think he can't do that, first. And then we'll figure it out from there. He's a local hometown guy, and we're excited to have him.
And then for Joe, also a local hometown kid. What do you think he brings to that position?
Athleticism. I mean, you'll watch him on film playing linebacker. It's big. He looks like a huge linebacker for high school. He won't look as huge on our field, but the way he moves, the way he, anytime you get to watch a guy play in space, the closer to the ball he gets, he'll be fine, So that's a unique thing that you have when you recruit people, is when you get to see them play different positions, I think of, one of our younger guys, Tanner Mathias. He was an outside linebacker in high school at 6'3", 240 pounds. Now he's 270, but he played in space, no problem. He could move, flip his hips. Not quite like our outside linebackers do, but if he can move his hips like that, when you put his hand down, he's going to be able to handle a box around him. You know what I mean? So I feel the same way with Joe. You know, watching him play in space, he won't be in nearly as much space, which will make him even more athletic for being down close.
Coach, your class as a whole, how do you feel about it from early signing day to late signing day? How do you feel where you're at right now with this class?
I feel good. Yeah, I mean, I think we've addressed the issues, you know, that we have, and we've thrown, you know, we're able to, as the year went on, figure out kind of the places we need to put people. That's what made the second half of it a lot more fun. You know, our numbers, we don't really have a position that we're under or nervous about. You're just trying to find guys. We do have a lot returning this year, so it's been fun to not have to stress out. We need to find 6 wideouts because we're hurting, or linemen or anything like that. You know, O-line was definitely something we needed to get a couple more guys, and we have a really strong sophomore, going to be junior class at O-line, and linemen in general. They normally hit their stride in year 3. You know, they come in, they redshirt, they do okay, and then year 3 is when they just blossom. You know, and so we need to get those guys in here now so that a couple years from now we'll be able to replace that class. You know, so I was happy with finding the guys we had there, because it's going to take them time. That's not an easy. It's not like Bird where you just roll him out there and he goes. But yeah, I thought we shored up our kicking game. You know, I think he punts, he kicks, he does a lot of good things. You know, and we need help there, and we need help all over, and all those guys need competition. And I think they're all going to get better. They were all 18 last year, but now they're going to have competition from a junior college kid. And Isaiah having another junior college DB was nice. And so yeah, I like the class. Some of them are here already working with us, which is fun. And I'm excited to get spring ball.
A lot of local guys with this second signing period. Actually, they're all local. Was that kind of an emphasis you had, trying to get some local guys too?
Yeah, you know, we compare and contrast in recruiting. You get to a point where you know, I value people within our 6-hour radius. I value people in our backyard. If I really think it's a 50-50 split between 2 players, I'm going to take the local guy every single time. You know, because it means more for them to be here. Wearing the logo means more to them. Every single day when we're in this room at 6:30, 7 in the morning, that logo on those chairs matters to that guy. And so when it's even, I mean, if there's a guy that's further away that we think is a better player, we'll take him too. But we value people from Southwest Michigan.
Any updates on Juwan Dallas and his pursuit of the $6
Working on it, you know. It's a long process. I don't know if he'll get it or not. I know he wants to be a coach. As of right now, we're planning on him coaching, you know, and if he plays, he plays. It'd be great, you know, but our plan is that he's going to coach for us in the spring, and kind of wait and see, you know. So he's still recovering from, I mean, he pretty much had a fractured, I mean, the whole year he played injured, you know, but he's all we had, you know, so he toughed it out, which I appreciated. But I know he wants to be a coach, so we've kind of got him going out in that direction right now. And if something surprises us later, it surprises us later. But we're moving on as if no, you know, because you can't count on those things. We got to make sure we're ready, and then we'll make the adjustment if he gets it.
Deshaun Watson and Devontae Jennings both chose to pursue other football. Any other guys put their names in the transfer portal?
That's a good question. There's been guys on the portal, but that's been all year. I'm trying to think anyone recently. I mean, Keyshawn was the most recent one. Jin was back in December, you know. I mean, Josh Grant was the first one on it. I can tell you that. I'm trying to think of all the names. I haven't looked at it, you know.
Boersma, Rector.
Hunter was during the year. Hunter Boersma. Wyatt Rector, another one, yeah.
No one since Keyshawn?
No, not that. No, he's yeah, that's it. You know, I know it's gonna be interesting to see how that thing plays out. I'm rooting for all of them. I want them to land somewhere, you know. But we'll move on. Bottom line is it's important. Well, even in recruiting, you know, one of our taglines that's the most important to me is I want people that want to be here. And you got to want it pretty bad to go through the stuff we go through, you know? So if you're 100% in, you know, we're going to put our arm around you. If you're not, then we're going to wish you the best wherever you end up, you know? So it's try to make it as simple as possible.